Hello, it's Susie from Bonsai Druid. Welcome back to the channel and happy St. Patrick's Day. It is March 17th. So I am, as promised, working on one more Staghorn sycamore or Staghorn sumac and one more American elm, getting them repotted. These are going to go a little differently than the last ones did, which were the previous ones both went into much bigger pots. This one's staying in the same pot, and the other one I'm not sure, but I will be looking at the roots on both of these. So I'm going to start with the sumac like I did last time. This one has a bigger trunk. Hang on. Okay, this one here is Staghorn sumac. It's in one of these tie pots. One of the larger size tie pots that I have. Let's see. So this trunk is thicker across the base than the other one. It's already got like a nice curvature here. Nice curving trunk here coming up, and one of these branches is small and one of these branches over here is almost as thick as this base. So, and then it's got this centerpiece that I need to take out. This piece right here is going to get cut out today. What's over here, I'm definitely leaving this side, and this might be the future of the tree, this direction over here, and then maybe creating another back or growing another branch on this side to replace this bigger one. But I don't think I want to cut into any of that right now, other than removing this piece here. I want to get it out of this pot, check the roots. If it's got a lot of roots going on, then I want to maybe edit these roots and put it back in this pot for this year rather than growing it into a bigger one. Because I'm going to see how much I can control the height of this tree while keeping this basic trunk. I wouldn't mind this being small, but I'm not sure quite how small I can get it. The other one I would let be a little bigger because it doesn't have the same trunk. So let's get this out of the pot. Broke off a bract. This is the dried remains of the many leaflets that populate one of these bracts. Leaves. This is a leaf. These are the leaflets. This particular variety is dwarf, and it's what it's called a cut leaf. So these leaves are much thinner and sculpted out than the normal leaf for this tree, which is more of a lance shape and serrated edge and like full, not bifurcated in like these are. But that's pretty neat. The dog wants it. It's not getting it. Even if it's not poisonous, they're not getting it. Okay. So, try not to damage. Or lose any of this soil. Or I should say substrate, because this is mostly inorganic. And this plant could probably stand to have some organic, but we're going to see how it goes. Well, it definitely didn't penetrate the holes in the bottom of the pot as far as roots go. And you can see, I'll bring the camera in closer, there's not a lot of what I would call fine roots. Again, I am not sure how fine of a root this tree even makes. It might not make those really, really delicate fine roots. I don't know. I'm going to find out through the process of bonsaiing this tree. Normally, if you planted this in the yard, you would never get to see that. It's one of the advantages of having trees in pots. So here's the roots. See how close I can go. I might need a white piece of paper. Don't be breaking off roots now. I need them. You can see that there's not really fine rooting. There's a few skinny ones back here on this part. So we'll have to see how it develops. I mean, I can see a little bit of fine rooting right here. That's about the finest that I can see on here. Gonna take a look. I don't want to mess too much. Just want to get a look and see if there's anything really heinous that I should just take out now. Oops, sorry buddy, I'm knocking all your branches off. So there's kind of a big low one here. It's got some small hairs. There's one up here that doesn't. I'd rather get it even higher up than that, but I think I'm going to take this one off. There's this thick, squishy stump here. This one's kind of growing on a more of an upward angle. Where'd it go? Oh, right here. This one here. Doesn't really have much of anything on it. This is kind of thick and growing down, and there's a smaller one growing, whoops, this way, but it looks like it's kind of dry. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and take it out shorter though. That's practically falling off. Now it's got this little humping root that's coming over. I don't love it. My experience with these types of things from the corkscrew hazel is it's only going to go badly. Separate it. It's a very oddly growing. That's how they were connecting. See if these knob cutters were as much fun as they were the last time. Get over here. There's some wetness here in between where I cut these. I'll try and brush some of that out. I'm going to wipe them off with a rag, and then I'm going to actually put some wound putty over it. Where's the ones I just had? There's a little one here. Not going the right way. Where the hell it's going, but it's stuck in there somewhere. It's a bit damp under here. I'm tempted to trim some of these, but will I get the fine growth backed up? I'll try here, so I can see some. This one's also just growing up. Well, no, I would be below the soil. Nah, it just broke, so take that off. There's other roots below this, so I'm going to take this other thick one off. Any ones that I can take back a little bit right now, I'm going to. If they're really long. Just because this pot's going to spend all summer in there, and I want to make sure it's just not immediately circling the pot once it gets in there. And then making a bunch of long, filament fine roots far out on the edges when I need them a little closer in. But I don't want to cut this thing too shy of roots, because these are all just kind of tuberous roots. You can see the sap coming. That might be it. Let's see what this one's doing. Okay, I think that's it. That's all I'm going to risk taking off right now. So I just took a couple pieces from the bottom that were thick. All the rest of this is just going to let go. There's still things that need fixing, but I'm going to let it try to grow some finer roots before I take any more from it. But I am going to spritz it with a little bit of water. There's parts that were wet and then parts that were dry. So I'm just going to spritz the edges. And putting it right back in that pot as soon as I find a way to set it down. Roots. You can see how bulbous it is down here too. So we'll see where this one goes developmentally. First I gotta get it down in the pot. Okay, slope it out like that. I'm gonna make sure I got it seated and that I get some substrate underneath this central bottom part of the trunk because it's angled a little bit. Ooh, nice. It's already almost standing on its own. Yay. I don't know if you guys can see it. See if I can arch this over a little more. It's definitely sitting a little lower in the pot than it was before because I cut those roots off the very bottom. But I'm still trying to keep the soil actually lower to expose a little more of this wider flare around the trunk base. This right here has a little bump that comes out with a lot of roots on the ends, but I think this can eventually just make this look like a nicer flare. And so I'm bringing this side down a little bit, this side up a little bit, and it helps keep these bits out of the wetness when this is getting watered. Hopefully it will heal well and not like rot out or anything. It feels pretty good there. So, I took off some roots. But there wasn't a whole lot there. So I guess that's good, in a way, because that means that there's room in this pot for it to grow through the summer, through spring, summer, and fall of next year. At least that's what I was hoping. So now I'm going to just go back over the surface and take off anything that's just sticking out from here. These are going back across. They're not in the ground or anything. They're not even in the soil. This one also crosses back. Doesn't really go down in the soil. Cut it back a smidge. Crossing under here. No, that one's still sticking up. Just removing anything that's growing upwards. And it's not even like, these aren't even going down inside the soil. This one's coming down from below, so I'm just going to break that off and hopefully it'll change course. This one here can be okay if it continues to grow out in that direction. I wonder if I have a rock. Try this one because it's wedgy. This one's still coming up. Why are you growing up? Grow down. Over here, gotta few coming out that just really aren't going to do anything, I don't think. I might be able to get that one to grow down, but this one's going upwards. This one's going the wrong way. This one's... they're still too high. This one would need another rock if I could find one. I'm going to move this root a little more parallel. And if I stick this rock in between this and this, I might be able to convince it to go that way. We'll see. I wanted it over here. Just like that much. There. Just a tiny one that's growing upwards. See if I can convince these guys to grow downwards. This one and this one. I don't think they're going to play. I'm going to have to cut them. Alright. So you can see right here is where I removed a big humping root that was growing there. These are old. I need to probably trim those and clean them. Oops, rocking in the pot. I got to situate that. And then this back side, there's a bit of a knob comes out here. And then it comes around. So that's not a terrible root base. I think with a little time and, you know, being able to clean up these a little, make them smoother, a little more flowing, I think that's a good base. And I think that the trunk itself is pretty interesting. It'll come down to what I can do with getting the branches developed and getting a good root system developed. But I think that's a good start. Oh, and I gotta remove this. And actually I'm just gonna use my angle pruners because I don't know if you can see. The hole. You see the dark center? That's a hole going down. So I think the heartwood or the center maybe rots out or dries up. So I'm going to cut at that and see. Make sure that if I wouldn't want to cut it here and have a big gaping problem. So I'm going to cut it here for the moment. See, now that's solid. So my thought was if I cut it down to here, I cut it down to here, put some cut paste on it right away, maybe it wouldn't rot out like that. That's about as smooth as I'm going to go. And I'm getting the cut paste like right now. Not letting anything get in it or on it. One of these times, I wish I would have done it last year. Order some of Adam from Notion Bonsai's cut paste. Guess he makes a special concoction. Sounds pretty good. Just cap that off there. For the time being. Look at these. I can get a cleaner cut. Okay, we're going to go with that. Get cut paste on them before they get anything else in them. Ah, came right back off of my finger. It's no good now. It's tricky getting in there. Okay. Okay. Even gonna put one on this little guy. Okay, that's enough of that. Back to making sure it's solid. You be quiet. Get this sumac. Finish watering this in. It can get watered from the top and then soak in this bin for just a little bit. Make sure that all these dry particles got fully saturated. This being a Tide pot, it also has a lot of drain holes on the bottom and some across the sides to work the way that root pots do, to help train the roots to make a nice radial root pattern, or at least make the finer bits in this range and die back before, you know, exiting the pot, ideally. I have to look and see if I have any more Tide pots available. The main reason I bought these pots was because of the lots of holes in the bottom and along the sides. The knobs have come in handy a few times, just when I'm trying to just get a general lowering of a branch or something, or just to swivel something over that's real fragile. But the roundness, I like round pots. Especially for this part of like developing. It seems like I get better results with round pots.
That you could use the knobs around the edges of the pot to possibly use either bungee cord or another type of cording or even wire to like zigzag across the pot in order to hold the tree in. As another method, maybe of possibly holding the tree in, it would probably work best if the tree had a good massive roots. But it's something I think I might try out just to see, rather than wiring them in the normal way, which I'm sure is much more stable. But this might be another way for a sensitive tree.
Whew.
This video, okay, so since this video ran about an hour, I'm going to cut it off here. This will be part 1, and then I will continue with the American elm in part 2. So see you in part 2. Thanks for watching.